Hi, I'm back from the Selah Origins of Christianity tour to Italy and Greece with Professor John Dickson. And this is my new fridge. Now, if you're wondering why I'm talking about my new fridge, well, keep watching. It'll come out in the wash. Selah is a travel company run by Lisa and assisted by Christelle, who are both on the tour. They specialise on tours to the Holy Land and beyond. John Dickson is an Australian author, Anglican cleric and historian of the ancient world, largely focusing on early Christianity and Judaism. Since 2022, he has been a professor at the Graduate School of Wheaton College in the United States. And since 2019, he has hosted the Undeceptions podcast. I had read a number of his books and listened to a number of his podcasts, and I liked how he framed the stories of the Bible in their historical and cultural context. The tour was going to look at why did Christianity explode from being a small Jewish sect begun in the backwaters of the Roman Empire into the largest religion of the world. So I signed up. I travelled alone, but instantly found myself accepted by the group. Woo! Hey! Hey! Whoa, sorry, it's one of them. Hey, Mexican wave! Woo! In fact, we were all given a number, and I was given the number 1. Just saying. The group included some of Professor John's students. The tour was part of their course. Sure beats poring over books. But I did start to panic when he said, "This may be in the test." But then I realised he was just speaking to his students. Phew. On the first day of our tour, we saw the site where Julius Caesar was assassinated. The magnificent building, the Pantheon, built originally as a pagan temple, but now a Christian church. And then the altar of peace of Augustus. Here we are, sitting in front of one of the many inscriptions entitled The Deeds of the Divine Augustus, where John Dickson gave us a summary of the history of the Roman emperors and the tensions that existed between the empire and the Christian faith, including the similarity of the names they used to describe the emperor and the names they used to describe Jesus. I've put my takeaway from what he said in my video entitled Jesus Stole His Titles. Check it out in the link. It's in the description below, or here. Then it was off to Ostia, what used to be the port city for ancient Rome. John took us through the ruins of the city to the remains of a synagogue. It is one of the oldest synagogues in the world, the oldest synagogue in Europe, and the oldest mainstream Jewish synagogue yet uncovered outside the land of Israel. Here, John gave us a history of the Jews, focusing on the time of Jesus. And my takeaway from what was said is in my video entitled, What Sort of Jew Was Jesus? The link is here, or in the description below. The next day, we did Rome, taking in the Forum, Palatine Hill, and the Colosseum. My understanding of the culture of Rome in the days of the early church and the church's impact on the empire just blew my mind. I couldn't help but look into everything to see what I could learn. Oh, there's a little porthole to look into. Can't wait to see.
So some lemons on a fresco.
Oh, sorry, darling. That night, we got on a plane and headed to Athens. Our motel had a great view. The next day, we were in amongst it, walking around the Acropolis itself. We also went to Plato's Academy, where again John took us on a journey, yes, even getting us to act out one of the most famous allegories of Plato. None of us will ever forget the allegory of the cave. It seemed as if Greek philosophy was primed to be introduced to Jesus, the true Logos. The next day, we were in Delphi, and John Dickson was really excited. He told us he had something to show us. I thought, what is so exciting about a woman sitting on an uncomfortable tripod, getting high on subterranean emissions and oleander leaves? But then he showed us what was the archaeological discovery that set his history-loving juices on fire. I talk about it in my video, My Discovery at the Centre of the World. Check out the link here or in the description below. Then we're on another plane to Thessaloniki. Those Greek names. The next day we're in Philippi, the place where Christianity entered Europe. We saw the place that Lydia got baptised, the forum where Paul was brought before the magistrates and beaten. We even saw what people suspect was his jail. I was so excited about what John Dickson told us, I made the video, Why Did Christianity Explode in Europe? Check that out too, in the description below. The next day we were in Berea, checking out a synagogue. I'd never been in a synagogue before. Berea was, of course, where Paul was impressed by the local Jews' response to his message. Then to Virginia, to its museum, where we marvelled at some of the artefacts and treasures that were unearthed. Now, it was on this day that, like Paul, I was well received by the Americans on tour. Over pizza. Oh, did I tell you about the great food we had on the tour? Anyway, they were so impressed with me, they suggested that I too should become an American. This sent me on a nationalistic crisis. Another flight saw us back in Athens. We saw the Areopagus, where Paul was brought before the philosophers to explain his faith. Again, John spoke to us, and I put my learnings in the video called When Philosophy Met Christianity. Check that out too. We also saw the Agora, and it was here the Americans really put on the pressure.
It's just unbelievable, but I've been accepted as an American.
We've given him a passport.
I've got a passport. I'm allowed into the diplomatic areas.
He gets free food.
Free food. People throw things at me all the time. Maybe
Daughters,
because I'm daughters, including their daughters. But I don't want any daughters. No. I've got enough daughters as it is. They're expensive. Yeah. But it's I just don't know how to take it. It's such an honour. Such an honour.
Let's just say this. Mike. Welcome to America.
Say this. Repeat after me. God bless America.
God bless America.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank goodness for my good Aussie mate Brownie.
You. Listen, Brownie mate, I'm a bit of a problem. These Americans want me to become an American, and I don't know if I can cut it. I don't even know how to use a gun.
Mate, I don't think you need to. Come to the barbecue. We'll have a talk about it. You're okay, mate. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. That's what I wanted to hear.
This inspired me to make my video, What Trumps Being an American? Excuse the pun. The next day, we were in Corinth. We saw the Corinth Canal.
The Corinthian Canal.
It's a good shout on your way down.
And we wandered through the ancient town of Corinth, where again the stories of Paul came to life. I didn't realise Corinth was the ancient centre for healing. People would make models of their ailments and leave them in the temples where they sought healing. I can't even imagine what this guy was suffering from. Here John talked about food sacrificed to idols, and as we took in the culture of Corinth and its plethora of pagan temples, we saw why it was such an issue and marvelled at Paul's skillful handling of the issues. See my video, How Jesus Changed Our Eating Habits, and the other video, Am I a Weak Christian? Don't eat food sacrificed to idols. We stopped off at Cenchrea, Feme's home base, the lady that carried the letter to the Romans from Corinth, to the Roman churches. Here John bared all as he jumped into the Aegean Sea. What can I say? I have never seen so much soft, supple, rippling muscle. Hearing about Phoebe and the women of the early church in both the Bible and secular records caused me to make my video, Women in Christianity. Check that one out. We left again on a jet plane, and back in Rome we walked back part of the Appian Way. The Apostle Paul travelled along the Appian Way when he was taken as a prisoner to Rome to stand trial before the emperor, marking the beginning of Paul's ministry in Rome. We visit the Basilica of St. Clement, a church built on top of an old pagan temple, indicating how Christians repurposed the old pagan temples as they gained prominence. On our final day, we visited the catacombs, and John talked about the many welfare institutions that the Christian church started and their impact. I couldn't help but think of that Monty Python skit, What have the Romans ever done to us? And so made a video called, What have the Christians ever done for us? Then it was time to say our goodbyes to our new-made friends and head for home. Which brings me back to my fridge. I arrived home jet-lagged and sick with a chest infection. At 4 a.m. in the morning, unable to sleep, I thought I'd raid the fridge for some comfort food. And both doors of the fridge fell off. Some quick thinking and I botched up a job to get me by before getting a new fridge. I was no longer on holidays. I was back in the real world where fridges fall apart. But unlike other holidays, I'd been given so many things that continue to enrich my faith for months to come. I made 10 videos about what I had learned. I hope you spend some time watching some of them. And I realised that the difference with this holiday was that it had not just been an investment in good memories, good food, and fun times. It had also been an investment in my faith, a new dimension for a holiday, and one that I would recommend to you. So if you're thinking of a holiday, let me encourage you to contact Selah Tours. Tell them Big Mike sent you. They may charge you double, but every cent will be worth it. Their contact details are in the link below. Thanks, Selah, for a great trip, and John Dickson for your time in preparing an informative and exciting experience. I'll never forget. If you have liked this video, then send us a like or subscribe to my channel, Mike's Story Number, and God bless.